Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for presenting today's board meeting. I am General Tan Sri Muhammad bin Muhammad Ali B, the chairman of this meeting. Without any hesitations, I would like to start the meeting now. Jasmine, can you please confirm the presence of the quorum?
Sure, Datuk. Everyone is present except Datuk Akbar Tan Sri. Datuk Akbar to an emergency leave due to his appointment with a doctor. However, the quorum is enough to start a meeting. We shall proceed the meeting now.
Thank you, Jasmine. Since the requisite quorum being present, I hereby call the meeting to order. I would like to commence the meeting by introducing fellow company directors. Puan Sri Lim Teng Yee,
Yes.
Datuk Nazir bin Amin,
Yes, Tan Sri.
Datuk Nathan Nair, Mr.
Yes.
Idris bin Yusof.
Yes, Tan Sri.
Besides, I would like to welcome the auditor from Maersk Crowe Malaysia, Mr. Lee Min Kee.
Hi, everyone.
Alright, with the consent of the members present, I declare that the notice of the board meeting having been circulated for the prescribed period was taken as read. Jasmine, can you please read the procedure for the meeting and explain the voting procedure to us?
Alright, Tan Sri. The procedure for the meeting will be followed the agenda written in the notice of board meeting. The chairman will announce to the end of discussion of any resolution and go into voting. All the resolutions set out in the notice of board meeting would be voted by show of hands. Every director has one vote. A resolution is passed if it is agreed to by all directors present without dissent or if a majority of the votes cast on it are in favour of it. Any questions? If no question, Tan Sri, you may proceed to the first agenda.
Alright, thank you, Jasmine. Let us move to the first agenda, which is to review and approve the audited financial statements for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. I would like to invite auditor from Maersk Crowe Malaysia to give opinion on the audit of the financial statements.
Thank you, Tan Sri. As independent auditors, we have audited the financial statements of Gatsonic Group Berhad, which comprises the statements of financial position as at 31st December 2020 and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, and also the statement of changes in equity and statement of cash flows for the year that ended. And notes to the financial statement, including a summary of significant accounting policies as set out on pages 14 until 96. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statement give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as at 31st December 2020, and it is compliance with the GAAP, where it stands for the Generally Accepted Accounting Principle.
I believe everyone has read through the audited financial statements. Is there any question to ask?
Yes, I have a question to the auditor. I wish to ask why the cost of sales incurred in financial year 2020 rocketed more than 100% as compared to the financial year 2019. So, as far as I know, our sales only increased about 30%.
Thank you for the question. Okay, yes, the company did increase cost of sales by 140%. This is due to the company incurred more than 6 million ringgit on cost of service rendered.
What is cost of service rendered, Mr. Lee?
Okay, cost of service rendered refers to the cost of services provided. The elements of cost comprise labor, labor benefits, taxes, and also the insurance.
Oh, alright. Thank you for your explanation.
Welcome.
Is there any more question? Alright, if no more questions, I would like to put the resolutions to vote. Please raise your hands if you agree to approve the audited financial statements. Alright, since everyone agrees, I hereby declare that the resolutions to review and approve the audited financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2020 is passed. Thus, the audited financial statements will be presented in the next AGM for discussion only. We will now continue with the next resolutions, which is to approve reports or statements related to financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. I would like to invite Puan Sri Lim Teng Yi as a representative to give opinion of the directors.
Thank you, Sri. In the opinion of the directors, the result of the operation of the company during the financial year were not substantially affected by any item, transaction, or event of a material and unusual nature. In addition, the financial statements of the company set out on pages 14 to 96 are drawn up so as to give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company as at 31st December 2020, and it is compliant with the generally accepted accounting principle GAAP.
Thank you, Puan Sri Lim Teng Yi. I guess it should be no question on the director's report, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Astrid.
Since the auditor has given the opinion on the audit of financial statements, I think it should also be no question on the auditor's report, right?
Yes, Tan Sri.
Yes.
Alright, now I would like to put the resolutions to vote. Please raise your hands if you agree to approve director's reports and auditor's reports. Alright, since everyone agrees, I hereby declare that the resolutions to approve reports or statements related to financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2020 is passed. Thus, the director's report and auditor's report will be presented in the next AGM along with audited financial statements for discussion only. Now, we continue with our next agenda, which is regarding the retirement and re-elections of directors. We will proceed with the retirements of director first. As usual, we will need to select one over three members from our board for the retirement by rotations, and hence we will select two from us to retire from the board during AGM. This is to comply with the law under Company Act 2016. Ms. Jasmine, could you please explain more about this?
Yes, Sansri. According to Companies Act 2016, the directors who hold office for longest time since last election should be retired by rotation from the board. In relation to this, I have referred to the register of directors and highlight that Datuk Nazir and Mr. Idris has held office for longest time since year 2018 and 2019 respectively. Hence, according to the situation that mentioned just now, Datuk Nazir and Datuk Idris will be the directors to retire from board during this AGM. What Datuk Nazir and Mr. Idris think about this?
Yes, I agree with Jasmine as I have the longest service time in board and I will voluntarily retire from board during the AGM.
I think what Jasmine mentioned is true, and most of them shall retire from board this year.
I understand with that. With what Jasmine mentioned, I will retire from board as well. However, the retired director can be re-elected again during the next AGM, right?
Yes, according to Companies Act 2016, the retired director can be re-elected again if the retired director agrees with it and ordinary resolution has been passed by members.
Okay, in relation with what Jasmine mentioned just now, I would like to ask you all whether you all agree to re-elect Datuk Nazir and Datuk Akbar as directors of the company. Those who agree with the re-elections of Datuk Nazir and Datuk Akbar as our directors, please raise your hand. Alright, so everyone is agreed with the re-elected of directors during next AGM. So I would like to conclude that we will have two directors to retire from board during next AGM, which is Datuk Nazir and Mr. Idris will be retired by rotations. However, they will be re-elected again to become directors during next AGM. Okay. No more question regarding this?
No.
Okay, hereby I declare that the agenda is resolved. Let's proceed with the next agenda, which is to discuss about directors' remunerations, which include fees and benefits for the next year. Regarding this, I would like to call upon Datuk Nazir as the member of Remuneration Committee to explain on the director's fees and benefits.
Okay. Last month, we have the
Okay, Datuk
remuneration
Nazir,
committee
please.
meeting. Okay, last month, we have the remuneration committee meeting to review the remuneration of the board, and we have decided to remain director's fee and benefits for each director. The total director's remuneration is 504,020 ringgit. This is due to the consideration of COVID-19 pandemic that company is facing now, and we, as a board of directors, should do our best in reducing company operating costs.
True, I agree with this.
Yes, me too.
Yes, me too.
Thank you. Thank you all. If there is no doubt, then we shall vote. Those in favor for the approval of directors' remunerations, please raise your hand. Thank you, everyone. And since the vote shows majority agree with this, hereby I declare that the agenda is resolved. We will move to our next agenda, which is the reappointment of auditor and fixings of auditor fees. First of all, our auditor, Mr. Lee Min Ki from Maersk Pro Malaysia, has been appointed as our auditor for 2 years since the beginning of the year 2019. In the next AGM, Mr. Lee will be reappointed again as our auditor for the coming year. With regards to this, I would like to ask the approval from you all, and please raise your hands if you are agree with this. Okay, good. Next, we will continue with the auditor's fees. As referred to this year, we paid total of 171,553 ringgit for the audit fee, and we would like to pay the same amount of auditor's fee for the coming financial year.
I agree with the amount as the fees paid are able to cover all the expenses that we incurred during the auditing process.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Any questions regarding this matter?
No.
No, Tan Sri.
Alright, alright. As you all have no more questions, for those who agree with this, please raise your hand. So, I concluded that we will reappoint Mr. Lee Min Ki from Maersk Pro Malaysia as our auditor, and the audit fees will be 171,553 ringgit per annum. We move to our sixth agenda, which is about the authority to issue shares pursuant to Section 65 and 66 of Company Act 2016. Jasmine, could you please help me to explain this to all directors?
Sure, Datuk. Subject to Section 75 and 76 of Companies Act 2016, the directors of the company are empowered to issue an alert share upon the approval by way of resolution by the company has been obtained, and further that such authority shall emerge immediately upon the passing of this resolution and continue to be in force until the conclusion of the next annual agenda meeting, annual general meeting of the company.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine. With regards of this, do you all have any questions about this?
No.
No,
No,
Tan
Tan Sri.
Sri.
Alright, if there is no questions, for those who agree and approve with this, please raise your hand. Thank you, and hereby I declare that the agenda has been resolved. Alright, now we continue with the next agenda, which is regarding the requisitions to remove Datuk Nathan as director of the company and the appointment of director, which is Mr. Sani Abdullah. Jasmine, could you please explain on the special notice for requisitions that we have received?
On 4th May, we have received the special notice for requisition from Datuk Hamzah Mazlan and Mr. Abdul Hamid Badrul regarding the requisition for an extraordinary general meeting to discuss about the ordinary resolution of removal of Datuk Nathan Ni from his office as director and the appointment of Mr. Sani Abdullah to be the director of the company. Regarding this, Tan Sri would like to seek suggestion and idea from every director regarding these resolutions.
I wonder the reasons for the members to issue this special notice. Do they mention anything regarding this?
No, Datuk. But during this board meeting, we will discuss on this issue and then we will bring this to the EGM for the resolution of members.
Alright, Jasmine.
Thank you, Jasmine. Regarding the removal of Datuk Nathan from his office as director, I would like to suggest to remain him as director of our company. As from what I observe, he is a very committed and performed director as he never skipped board's meeting and he did do his job during the holding of the office. Besides, he also active in helping company to planning the strategic plan and providing suggestions and solutions when there is any problem exists. How about the others?
Yes, I agree with Tan Sri. Since when Datuk Nata worked for company as director, he always be participative and also contribute more than as a director of company. Moreover, he also transparent enough and disclose all of the information that relate to the interest of Catsunit to the company. I can't see there is any reason to remove him from the office.
Thank you for the recognition, and I just do what I can do for the company.
Perhaps there is any misunderstanding from company members that we should figure out and
Yes, true. Shall we vote now for the removal of Datuk Nathan from office?
Yes,
Yes,
Tan Sri.
Alright, if we all agree with the removal of Datuk Nathan from office, please raise your hands. Okay, so everyone is disagree with the removal of Datuk Nathan from office.
yes, we are disagree.
Alright, Datuk Nathan, please be presented and prepare yourself for the EGM because the final decisions will be on the shareholders.
Alright, thank you everyone.
Now, we proceed with the appointment of the new director, Mr. Sani Abdullah. Okay, just may we pass the document regarding details and information of Mr. Sani Abdullah to everyone. Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, the document shows the background of Mr. Sani Abdullah. There are few things that can be concluded from me. He was the director of Sandbox Berhad and now he holds the directorship in Samsung Berhad. Meanwhile, he is an ACCA member and have experience before in our industry. I think he can be a good candidate for the director of our company. What you all think about this?
Yes, for me, he is qualified candidate for becoming director for our company because he can use his expertise when it comes to formulating company strategic plan and solutions. Besides, I think he could also become our independent director because from the document, I can see that he is free from any interest that related to our company.
Yes, I agree with this. However, we will need to go through some procedures and get the vote during EGM. Then can only know the result.
Yes, Mr. Idris. If there is no questions, I would like to get vote regarding the approval of appointment of Mr. Sani Abdullah as our company director. If you agree with this, please raise your hand. Alright, good. In conclusions, based on our voting just now, Datuk Nathan will not be removed from the office as director, and Mr. Sani Abdullah is approved to be the director of company. We will see how was the result during EGM. So I declare that the agenda is resolved. We move to our eighth agenda, which is regarding the we move to our eighth agenda, which is regarding the beneficial owners. Jasmine, could you please proceed with the explanation of these matters to all directors?
Sure, Tan Sri. Based on paragraph 6 of the guidelines, beneficial owner is an individual or natural person who ultimately owns and controls an entity. As stated in paragraph 15 of the guidelines, the BO reporting framework applies to all companies incorporated or registered under the Companies Act 2016, unless exempt under the paragraph 17. Uh, on One of the categories exempt in paragraph 17C is companies whose shares are quoted in a stock exchange. So yes, Catsonic Group Berhad is exempt from the BO reporting framework. For our new company, Catsonic Piling Berhad, we need to obtain some information relating to the BO. Based on paragraphs 37 of the guidelines, legal entities are required to obtain full name, nationality, residential address, date of birth, IC number, passport number, type of BO, criteria of BO, date of becoming a BO, the date of the notice, and the date of BO information was received, and email address of the BO. That's all.
Thank you, Jasmine. With regards of this, do you all have any question about this?
No, Tan Sri? No.
Alright, thank you. If there is no question, I declare that the agenda has been resolved. Now, let's proceed with our next agenda, which is to approve the resolutions to hold next AGM and decide on the details of next AGM. I suggest to have our next AGM on 6 June 2021, which will be on next year. Is everyone okay with it? Jasmine, could you please help me to check whether on that day has any important company event?
Sure, Tan Sri. During that day, we don't have any significant company event.
Okay, great. How about the others? Will you all be available during that day?
Tan Sri, I will only be available during that day until afternoon 2 p.m. I may leave early if AGM end late.
I am available during that day also.
Me too.
I just realized we still have EGM need to be held. Can we have EGM right after AGM?
Sure, Tan Sri. However, due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we will have our AGM and EGM through virtual platform, and the broadcast place will be at Trico Leadership Room, Unit 3201, Level 321, um, Tower A. Okay, all members can access our virtual meeting through Microsoft Teams platform. An administrative guide regarding the broadcast of AGM and EGM will then deliver to all shareholders through the publishment on company official website. Okay, so we will have our next AGM on 6 June 2021 at 9 a.m. And the venue will be at Trico Leadership Room, Unit 3201, Level 32, Tower A. While EGM will be organized after the end of AGM at the same venue.
Thank you, Jasmine. You can prepare the notice of both AGM and EGM after the end of this board meeting.
Yes, Ratu, I will send the notice of AGM and EGM to all of you and our shareholder after this.
Alright, so our AGM and EGM will be held on 6 June 2021 at Trico Leadership Room, Unit 32101, Level 32, Tower A, and will be broadcasted through Microsoft Teams platform. Thus, I hereby declare that the agenda is resolved. Now, we move into our last agenda, which is to review and finalize the notice of AGM and EGM. I would like to invite Jasmine to brief more about this matter.
Thank you, Tan Sri. As we all had agreed that AGM and EGM will be held on 6 June 2020, I would like to finalize the agenda that will be stated in the notice of AGM and EGM.
Yes, sure, Jasmine.
Okay, first we go for ordinary businesses purpose, which are to lay before the meeting the audited financial statement for the financial year ended 31st December 2020 together with the directors and auditors report thereon. Next, to re-elect Datuk Nazir and Mr. Idris, who retired pursuant to Section 205, Subsection 3, Clause B of the Companies Act 2016, and being eligible has offered himself for re-election. After that, to approve the director's fee and benefits, which is amount to 504,240 ringgit for coming year. Last ordinary businesses purpose is reappointing Messrs. Crow Malaysia PLT as the auditor for the coming year and to authorize director to fix their remunerations. If there any other agenda or purpose to include in the ordinary business part before I proceed to a special business purpose?
I think that was all for the ordinary business part.
Okay, I will continue for special business. The purpose is to consider authority of directors to allot and issue shares pursuant to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. Next, to circular to shareholders in relation to the purpose change of name of the company from Cat Sonic Group Berhad to K Sonic Berhad. For EGM, it will be held for the purpose of the requisition to remove Datuk Nathan Ney from his office of director of the company and the appointment of Mr. Sani Abdullah as a director of the company. Is there any point that I missed?
No, Jasmine. Thank you. So I declare the agenda is resolved. Alright, it is great that we are able to finish all of our agenda. As a review on what happened in this meeting today, Jasmine, could you please help us to conclude what we have discussed today?
Sure, Tan Sri. We have total of 10 agenda for today. I will briefly conclude for each agenda. First agenda, to review and approve the audited financial statement of the company for the year ended 31st December 2020. Second agenda, to approve reports related to financial statement of the company for the financial year. Third agenda, to discuss the retirement and re-election of directors. Fourth agenda, to discuss the remunerations of directors for the coming year 2020. Fifth agenda, to reappoint Messrs. Crew Malaysia Limited as auditors of the company and fixing remuneration of the auditor with the amounts of 171,553 per annum. Sixth agenda, to obtain authority to issue shares pursuant to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. Whereas seventh agenda, to discuss the requisition to remove Datuk Nathan Ney from his office of director of the company and the appointment of Mr. Sani Abdullah as a director of the company. Eighth agenda, to discuss and get explanation regarding on the details of beneficial owner from company secretary. Ninth agenda, to approve a resolution to hold the AGM and authorize the secretary to issue notice. Whereas 10th agenda, to review and finalize the notice of AGM and EGM.
Thank you, Jasmine, for the conclusions. If there is no other questions or matters that need to be discussed, I would like to look for a motions to adjourn.
Okay, I propose that the meeting to be adjourned.
I second the proposal.
I now declare this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all for coming today, and our meeting is ended now.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Tan Sri.